Hey, this is a video review of Ryan, and Ryan is a left-handed pitcher, as you can see here, featured Jackson polar bear, and he's in our pitching class right now. So we're going to take a look at Ryan's delivery here full speed, and then we're going to break this down step by step and identify what Ryan is doing well and what Ryan can continue to improve on. So let's take a look at this video in slow motion here. So we can see Ryan takes a deep breath, and that's important to talk about because it is really important to take a deep breath and try to get it as relaxed as possible before each pitch so that you're ready to go. And especially when the situation starts getting tight, it's important to make sure you slow yourself down and take those deep breaths, and that helps calm those nerves just a little bit. So I like to see that there, Ryan getting that focus. So we're going to take a look at Ryan's first step, and notice that he takes a step directly back, and we may want to work on adjusting that so that he takes a step to the side instead of back, because when we take a step to the back, it's just a little bit harder to get to balance point, and when we take a step to the side, keep our weight right over to the front of that rubber, and that avoids any weight shift. When we take a step back, we tend to kind of get our weight shifting a little bit too much. But again, that's just a little thing, and we can work on correcting that quite easily. So let's stop Ryan up here in his balance point. So we're going to get him into his peak position. The one thing I like that I can see right away is that Ryan kind of pops that hip out, and he's starting to drive with that hip and getting that hip loaded and ready to go down the hill. His hands are in a good position, right in the center of his body, and his knee is nice and tall. His lead leg is at least as high as his belly button, so it's a really nice leg lift there. Really, really good balance point overall here from this position. So let's continue this, and as we go through, we can see that with that line there, Ryan's getting into a good drive position, we call this. That hip is out, his shoulders are back, and he's really getting exploded forward. The only thing we can see here, if we zoom in, and it's a little bit hard to see, but his weight is a little bit on the outside of that foot there. So right where my line is now, it looks like that's where Ryan's weight is. We want to get that weight on the inside of the foot, and what that's going to do is it's going to help create that momentum even more. When it's on the outside of the foot, it has to shift in and then go forward. So another way to look at that is, if we clear this out, when we zoom out, Ryan's knee and his foot are in a straight line. And what we'd like to see is, let me get out of here, is that knee be just inside the foot just a little bit. So let me clear all these lines and draw that line that we're talking about where we want to see everything, that knee kind of drive in. So let's see the line here. So we want to see that back leg have this type of angle, and it's almost that angle is going toward Ryan's front hip there. So we want to try to get him to lean into that a little bit more and create just a little bit more momentum early in the delivery. So we're going to notice late when Ryan finishes, he doesn't quite follow through, and usually the reason for that is just not enough power with the lower half coming out of the balance point. So we're going to work on trying to create that power right at this point and see if everything just comes through nice and smooth and get to a really nice follow through. But overall, this is a really good job. We are nitpicking small things here, and especially for Ryan's age, I really, really like his mechanics and the position that he's getting in. Even older kids who are in high school have a hard time doing some of the things that Ryan is already doing, especially with leading that hip and keeping everything in a good direction toward the target. So as we get moving here to power position, we're going to stop right as Ryan's foot hits the ground. So right about here, and overall real nice. A lot of things we're looking for. He's doing well. He's got his shoulders level. He's got his hand right about head level, which is good. He's kind of creating the two L's there with his glove hand, or his glove arm and his throwing arm. Overall really nice here. At the bottom, at the feet, he's just opened up a little bit. We want to try to make sure that we keep the direction in line, maybe just a little bit better there with the feet. But overall, this is a nice example of a good power position. And his weight's not forward yet, so everything lower half-wise is looking good. And as we start to rotate here, we are getting into our rotation or our throwing. And this is where spot a little bit of a concern here. Ryan is just a little bit upright in this position. And let's get to release point here. That ball leaves his hand right about there. And one of the things we look for is chin to knee position. So we want to see that the chin is out past the knee. And in this position, Ryan's chin is behind the knee. So extension-wise, he's just a little bit tall. And where he's letting the ball go right now, I'm going to guess that it's probably going to go high, or at least when he's pitching, a lot of pitches go high. And we've noticed that in the class, and this video is going to really help us figure out why that's happening and trying to get Ryan to keep that ball down. And I think we might have spotted it here. So what we want to do, and I'm going to draw my next line here, is get that chin, that might be a little bit far, but somewhere out past the knee. And how we're going to do it is we're going to get the back, Ryan's back, to kind of arch a little bit more. Right now his back's pretty upright, but we want to get his back to arch on that line that I just drew there. Let me redraw it so we can see it. We want his back to kind of stay on this plane instead of being on that more upright plane as it is right now. So if we're able to get out over, Ryan's able to get out over his knee a little bit with his chin and chest, it's going to help keep that ball down, and he'll actually probably let that ball go just a little bit closer to the plate. And I'm going to kind of draw here a target on where we want that to happen with that circle. And if he's able to let that ball go closer to the plate, two things will happen. He'll throw just a little bit harder because he's accelerating that ball longer, and he's going to be able to keep that ball down because his fingertips will be in a position where they're more on top of the baseball instead of pushing the baseball from behind. So a lot of good reasons why we want to try to get extended here. But overall, everything else is really, really good. He's doing a nice job getting his glove tucked, and really he's rotated well with his hips. So a lot of these things are a little bit more advanced type things that once we get the basics mastered, which Ryan is well on his way to doing, we can start working on more of the advanced stuff. So let's continue here, and we see that the arm is decelerating here. Notice that the arm runs into the glove. Let's zoom in on that. So Ryan's arm runs into his glove. All we want to do is get that glove to tuck a little bit more to the side out of the way so that doesn't happen. That'll let his arm just kind of finish nice and free and easy without having to run into anything. So we're going to really work on getting that glove to tuck away. And as I said earlier in the video, let's see look at the follow-through. And again, not a whole lot of follow-through. I think two reasons for that. Ryan's just not quite getting that drive out of the balance point quite as much as he's going to. And then I think throwing the ball kind of upright there, he's just kind of stops with the momentum there. So if we get that chest out over the knee just a little bit earlier, I think that'll have he'll just kind of naturally start to follow through just a little bit easier. But overall, this video shows a lot of good things, and it also shows some things that we'll continue to work on through the class and as we go through prior to the start of the season.